The store was quiet, too quiet. Glass shelves gleamed like they'd never been touched. Designer handbags floated in illuminated boxes like trophies. Gentle jazz trickled from invisible speakers, echoing across the boutique's marble floor. And then the silence cracked. Not loudly, but just enough. A cough, a shuffle. An old man stood near the fitting room, holding a jacket in both hands. His clothes were worn thin, his trousers slightly too short, his shoes scratched at the toes. But his hands were steady, respectful. He wasn't trying to steal. He just wanted to try on a blazer. A navy blue blazer with a subtle charcoal stripe, clean, quiet, dignified. He'd been coming in for weeks, never causing trouble, just looking. Today he reached. Today he touched. And that's when it began. A voice, sharp as a broken zipper, sliced through the calm. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to put that down." He turned, startled. A tall woman in red heels and an even redder lipstick strutted over. Her name tag read Morgan, assistant floor manager. "You can't try that on," she said flatly. The man blinked. "Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought." She cut him off. "That piece is reserved for clients," she said with exaggerated precision. "And you clearly are not a client." The man glanced around. The store was nearly empty. "I'm not hurt anything," he said gently. "I just want to see how it felt." For a minute, Morgan crossed her arms. "Do you even know how much that costs?" He didn't reply. Another salesperson nearby snickered. A third one pulled out her phone, not to call security, to record. The old man lowered the blazer back onto the hanger as if it were made of porcelain. "I didn't mean to cause trouble." A rustle at the front door went unnoticed. A man in a black hoodie and jeans stepped quietly into the store, glancing around. He wore no brand names, no watch, no flash. He looked like a tourist, except he wasn't. He saw the blazer. He saw the old man. And he saw everything. He said nothing. Not yet. But Keanu Reeves had just entered the boutique. And Justice, quiet, steady, unmistakable, was now in the room. Morgan turned to the younger sales associate standing beside her, tall, fresh-faced, trying too hard in a crisp black suit. "This happens more often than you think," she said, loud enough for the man to hear. "They come in, pretend they're shopping, just looking for attention." The young associate, Tyler, chuckled awkwardly, unsure whether to join in or walk away. So he said nothing. The old man didn't speak either. He nodded slightly, gently placed the blazer back on the rack, and stepped back, folding his hands like a schoolboy who'd been scolded in front of class. Morgan smirked. "Maybe check the outlet stores next time. Might find something closer to your bracket." Her words dripped with the kind of sarcasm that only comes from people who think their job title makes them superior. A few feet away, a couple browsing leather bags turned and watched with raised brows. One whispered to the other, "Why is she talking to him like that?" At the front of the store, the man in the black hoodie slowly approached the clothing racks. Keanu Reeves kept his hands in his pockets, his posture relaxed, head tilted just slightly as he listened. He didn't interrupt. Not yet, but he watched with eyes that saw through performance, through vanity, through cruelty. Morgan finally waved a hand dismissively toward the old man. "All right, sir, unless you plan on buying something, which, no offense, looks unlikely, please make room for real customers." The old man nodded slowly and turned to leave. His back curved slightly as he moved, the weight of invisible things pushing him down. Shame, maybe, or simply exhaustion from being reminded that no matter how respectfully you act, someone will still measure your worth by the shine of your shoes. And that's when Keanu spoke. Not loudly, not angrily, just clearly. "Excuse me." Morgan turned. Keanu stood at the edge of the suit section now, eyes calm, one hand resting lightly on the blazer the old man had just been forced to abandon. "Was there a reason you stopped that man from trying this on?" he asked, his voice smooth and low, like velvet covering a blade. Morgan blinked. She didn't recognize him yet. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, switching to her customer voice. "That jacket is a high-ticket item, and we've had some issues with people who aren't serious buyers." Keanu raised one brow. Did he damage it? No, of course not, but did he raise his voice? Morgan hesitated. No. Was he rude? No. Keanu nodded, gently taking the blazer off the rack. Then it sounded like he was more polite than most shoppers I've seen today. Morgan's smile faltered. Behind her, Tyler started to realize who he was looking at. Tyler squinted, his eyes darting between Keanu and the jacket in his hands. Then it clicked. His mouth parted slightly. He leaned toward Morgan and whispered, "That's Keanu Reeves." Morgan didn't react at first. She just blinked, then turned slowly, taking in his calm stance. The familiar face, one that somehow looked exactly like the photos and nothing like them at all. And suddenly, everything in her shifted. "Oh, Mr. Reeves," she began. But Keanu raised a hand gently, stopping her apology before it started. "I'm not here to make a scene," he said, placing the blazer over his arm. "I was just curious why respect in this store seems to come a price tag." Morgan straightened her posture, switching tones like a dial. "We deeply apologize, sir. We had no idea." He tilted his head again. "You had no idea what?" "That he?" She caught herself. "That he didn't belong." A long pause. Keanu looked at her, without blinking. "I think he belonged here more than most of us." Meanwhile, the old man had stopped near the exit. He hadn't heard what Keanu said, not all of it, but something had changed in the air. Customers were whispering. The store felt heavier. He glanced over his shoulder and saw Keanu Reeves holding the jacket, not angrily, just holding it, like it still meant something, like it could mean something again. Morgan, now desperate to course correct, turned to the old man. "Sir, I believe you're welcome to try that piece on now. I'd be happy to help you." He looked at her, not unkindly, just tired. "No, thank you," he said softly. "I wouldn't want to inconvenience anyone." And with that, he turned back toward the door. But this time, Keanu stepped forward. "Sir," he said, voice steady, respectful. "May I?" The old man paused. Keanu extended the blazer, the one he had taken off the rack, and held it out gently. "I think it would look great on you." The store was silent again. But this time it wasn't cruel. It was reverent. Tyler stepped forward, eyes wide. I can open the fitting room," he said quietly. The old man looked at Keanu, and for the first time all day, he smiled. The fitting room door clicked shut behind the old man. The boutique felt smaller now, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Keanu stood by the rack, still holding the space where the blazer had been moments before. He didn't follow, didn't crowd. He just waited, hands in his pockets, calm as ever. Morgan hovered nearby, her red heels clicking nervously against the marble. She tried to smile at a customer browsing scarves, but it came out forced, like she was auditioning for a role she no longer understood. Tyler stood frozen by the counter, watching Keanu with something close to awe. "Why'd you do that?" he whispered, almost to himself. Keanu glanced over, his expression soft but unyielding. "Because no one should have to ask permission to feel human." The words landed quietly, but they carried weight. Tyler swallowed, nodded, and didn't say another word. Inside the fitting room, the old man slipped on the blazer. He moved slowly, carefully, as if the act itself was a ritual. In the mirror, he saw someone he hadn't seen in years. Not a client, not a buyer, just himself, standing a little taller. When he stepped out, the room turned. Not dramatically, just enough. The blazer fit, like it had been waiting for him. The charcoal stripe caught the light, and for a moment, the worn shoes and short trousers didn't matter. He wasn't invisible anymore. Keanu nodded once. "Looks good." The old man smoothed the lapel with one hand. "Feels better than I thought it would." Morgan cleared her throat, stepping forward with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sir, it does suit you. Would you like us to wrap it up?" The old man shook his head gently. "No, thank you. I just want to know what it was like." He began to take it off, but Keanu raised a hand. "Keep it on a little longer," he said. "No rush." And for the first time, Morgan didn't argue. Outside, A small crowd had gathered, drawn by whispers of something happening inside. A phone camera flashed through the glass, but Keanu didn't turn. He wasn't here for that. Instead, he looked at the old man and asked, "What's your name?" "Henry," the man said quietly. "Henry," Keanu repeated like it mattered. "You got a good eye for quality." Henry chuckled, a small, rusty sound. "Used to be a tailor, long time ago, before things changed." Keanu nodded, listening without judgment. "Then you probably know more about this jacket than anyone in here." Morgan's face tightened, but she stayed silent. The air in the boutique had shifted again, not tense now, but alive. Like something broken had been quietly stitched back together. Tyler approached, holding a small tray with a glass of water. He offered it to Henry, his hands unsteady but sincere. "Thought you might want this," he said. Henry took it, surprised. "Thank you, son." Keanu watched the exchange, his eyes steady. He didn't need to say anything else. The lesson was already unfolding. The boutique's manager, a man in a sleek gray suit who'd been absent until now, emerged from the back office. His eyes darted between Keanu, Henry, and the small crowd outside. "Everything all right here?" he asked, his voice too smooth, too late. Morgan jumped in, eager to regain control. "Just a misunderstanding, Mr. Ellis. Everything's fine now." Keanu looked at her, then at the manager. "Is it?" he asked simply. The manager faltered. I'm sure we can make this right, Mr. Reeves. Whatever you need." "I don't need anything," Keanu said. "But Henry might." Henry looked up, startled. "Me?" Keanu smiled faintly. "You came here for a reason. What was it?" Henry hesitated, then spoke softly. "My wife's birthday is tomorrow. She's been gone 5 years now, but I want to feel like I could still dress up for her, like I used to." The room stilled. Even Morgan looked down. Keanu nodded, his voice almost a whisper. "Then let's make sure you do." He turned to the manager. "This blazer. It's on me." Mr. Ellis blinked. "Sir, that's not necessary." "It's not about necessity," Keanu said. "It's about respect." Henry shook his head, eyes wide. "I can't let you do that." "You're not letting me," Keanu said gently. "I'm choosing to." Tyler stepped forward again, this time with a small box. I can wrap it for you, sir, if you want." Henry looked at him, then at Keanu, then back at the blazer still on his shoulders. "Thank you," he said, voice thick. "All of you." Morgan stood silent, her heels no longer clicking. And outside, the crowd wasn't filming anymore. They were watching, learning. The manager tried one last time to smooth things over. "Mr. Reeves, we'd love to offer you something as a thank you. Maybe a discount, or..." Keanu shook his head. "I didn't come here to buy anything." He looked at Henry, now standing straighter in the blazer, and added, "But I'm glad I walked in." Henry smiled again, this time brighter, fuller, and for a moment, the boutique wasn't about price tags or exclusivity. It was about something real. Tyler held the door to the fitting room open as Henry went to change back, but Keanu stopped him gently. "Keep it on, Henry," he said. "It's yours now." Henry paused and nodded, his eyes glistening but steady. As he walked toward the counter with Tyler to finalize the gift, Keanu stepped back, blending into background again. Morgan approached cautiously. "Mr. Reeves, I'm sorry for how this started." Keanu looked at her, not unkindly. "Don't apologize to me." He nodded toward Henry. "Apologize to him." She swallowed hard, then turned away, her confidence unraveling like a loose thread. Outside, the crowd had grown, but Keanu didn't linger. He slipped out a side door, unnoticed by most, but not by Henry, who watched him go, and felt, for the first time in years, like he was seen. The next morning, the boutique opened to a different kind of energy. The marble still gleamed, the jazz still played, but the air felt lighter, like someone had opened a window no one knew was there. Tyler was at the counter, organizing receipts with a quiet focus. Morgan was there too, but her heels clicked softer today. She hadn't spoken much since yesterday. The manager, Mr. Ellis, had called an early staff meeting before opening. We need to address what happened, he said, his voice less polished now, more human. We're a luxury brand. Yes, but luxury doesn't mean exclusion. It means excellence in how we treat everyone. Tyler glanced at Morgan, who looked down at her hands. I've spoken to corporate, Mr. Ellis continued. We're revising our training protocols. Starting today. He paused and added, and I've asked Morgan to step back from customer-facing duties for now. She'll be assisting in inventory. Morgan nodded silently, her face a mix of shame and something else, maybe relief. Tyler raised his hand. Sir, what about Henry? Mr. Ellis softened. I reached out to him this morning, invited him back. No pressure, just an open door. Tyler nodded, satisfied. By noon, the boutique's social media was flooded, not with outrage, but with something else. A blurry photo of Henry in the blazer, standing next to Keanu, had surfaced online. The caption read, Sometimes the best style is kindness. Comments poured in, This is what luxury should be. Keanu didn't just buy a jacket, he bought dignity. Who's Henry? I want to shake his hand. The post wasn't from the boutique. It was from a random customer who'd been there, who'd seen it all unfold, and it was spreading. Fast. That afternoon, Henry did come back, not in the blazer. He wore his usual worn coat, but with a small paper bag in his hand. He approached the counter where Tyler stood. Thought I'd bring something, Henry said, pulling out a small tin of homemade cookies. For you, for yesterday. Tyler blinked, then grinned. You didn't have to do that, sir. Henry shrugged. Neither did you. Morgan watched from the back, restocking his shelf. She didn't approach, but her eyes lingered on the tin. Mr. Ellis stepped out, offering a handshake. Henry, I'm glad you're here. I owe you an apology. Henry shook his hand, steady but kind. No need. Mistakes happen. It's what you do after that matters. Tyler opened the tin and offered a cookie to Henry first. Made these yourself? My wife's recipe, Henry said softly. She'd be happy to know they're being shared. The door chimed again. Not a customer this time. A delivery worker, holding a slim envelope. For the staff, he said, handing it to Tyler before leaving. Inside was a single card, and signed but unmistakable. Thank you for making yesterday about more than a sale. Attached was a gift certificate for the entire team. Dinner at a local restaurant, fully paid. Tyler looked at Henry. You think? Henry smiled. I know. Morgan finally stepped forward, her voice low. Henry, I'm sorry for how I acted. Henry looked at her, not with anger, but with something closer to understanding. Just make sure the next person who walks in doesn't feel like I did. She nodded, eyes down. And for the first time, she listened. The day wore on, but the boutique felt different now. Customers noticed it too. A woman trying on earrings said to Tyler, This place feels warmer today. He smiled. Yeah, it's getting there. That evening, as Tyler locked up, he noticed something new on the counter, a small brass plaque, ordered by Mr. Ellis that morning. It read, Excellence is not in what we sell, but in how we serve. No signature, but everyone knew who'd inspired it. Across town, Keanu sat quietly at a park bench, sipping coffee from a paper cup. His phone buzzed with notifications, articles, posts, tags about the boutique. He didn't open them. He just watched the world move by and smiled. The boutique wasn't the only thing that had changed. By the next week, Henry had become something of a local legend, not because of the blazer, but because of what it stood for. A small feature ran in the community paper, The Man Who Reminded Us What Matters. It told his story, not just yesterday's, but all of it. A tailor who'd lost his shop to hard times. A husband who'd lost his wife, but kept her memory alive. A man who walked into a store not to buy, but to feel close to someone he'd loved. The article didn't mention Keanu by name, just a stranger who saw what others didn't. But the photo was there. Henry, standing tall in the blazer, looking at the camera with quiet pride. Tyler clipped it out and taped it inside his locker, next to his name tag. Morgan saw it too when she was cleaning out her things. She didn't say anything, but she lingered on it for a long time. Mr. Ellis made good on his promise. Training sessions now included a new rule. Every person who walks through the door is a guest, not a transaction. And Henry? He didn't come back every day. But when he did, he was greeted by name. And sometimes he'd bring cookies. The boutique's social media quietly posted the plaque's words, along with a simple message. We're learning. Thank you for teaching us. The comments were kind and plentiful. And somewhere in the quiet of his own world, Keanu saw it. He didn't comment, didn't like, didn't share, but he nodded to himself and kept moving. Because that's what he did. Plant seeds, then let them grow. A month later, the boutique hosted its first community event. Not a sale, not a launch, a workshop, free, open to anyone, on tailoring basics. How to mend, how to fit, how to care for what you already own. Henry was the guest instructor. He stood at the front of the store, now rearranged with tables and sewing machines, teaching a small group of teens and retirees how to hem a cuff. His hands moved with the same steady care he'd shown the blazer that first day. Tyler helped set up, passing out needles and thread. Morgan was there too in the back, organizing supplies. She didn't speak much, but she worked hard. A local reporter stopped by, taking notes. "What made you do this?" she asked Mr. Ellis. He smiled faintly. "A reminder that luxury isn't just about what you wear, it's about what you share." Henry overheard and chuckled. Sounds like something a friend of mine might say. The teens listened to him like he was a sage, laughing when he told stories of his old shop days. One girl, shy but curious, asked, "How do you know what looks good on someone?" Henry thought for a moment. You don't decide for them. You help them see what they already are. The room nodded, and Tyler, watching from the side, felt his chest tighten with something like pride. That night, after the workshop, Henry stayed late to clean up. Tyler joined him, sweeping the floor. "You didn't have to do this, you know," Tyler said. "Teach us all this stuff." Henry shrugged. "Someone gave me a chance to feel like myself again. Least I can do is pass it on." Tyler paused, then pulled something from his pocket, a small, folded piece of paper. "Found this in the blazer box when we unpacked it. Thought you should have it." Henry unfolded it. A note, simple and clear. "You don't need a new suit to stand tall, but it doesn't hurt. Kiar." Henry laughed softly, tucking it into his coat. "That man's got away with words." Tyler grinned. "And with people." The following week, a package arrived at the boutique, addressed to the team. No return address. Inside was a set of tailor's tools, scissors, chalk, a measuring tape, each engraved with a single word, respect. Tyler held them up, shaking his head. "He doesn't stop, does he?" Mr. Ellis smiled. "Some people don't know how to." They displayed the tools near the plaque, a quiet addition to the story. Customers noticed and kept coming. Not just to buy, but to learn, to listen, to be part of something that felt like more than a store. Henry didn't teach every workshop, but he was there often enough. He'd sit with the kids, show them how to thread a needle, tell them about his wife's favorite dresses. And every time he did, he wore the blazer, not because it was expensive, but because it was a gift. One afternoon, as Henry packed up his things, a young boy, maybe 12, tugged at his sleeve. "Can you teach me how to make something for my mom?" Henry knelt down. "What's her favorite color?" "Blue," the boy said. Henry smiled. "Good choice. Let's start with something simple." Tyler watched from the counter, his eyes drifting to the plaque, and for a moment, he could have sworn he saw a shadow past the window, a man in a hoodie, pausing just long enough to look inside. But when he blinked, the street was empty. The final workshop of the season was different. Henry didn't teach alone. He invited Tyler to join him, to show what he'd learned. They stood side by side, demonstrating a simple stitch to a small crowd. Mr. Ellis watched from back, his arms crossed, a quiet pride in his eyes. Morgan was there too, handing out fabric swatches. She didn't talk much, but when a teen dropped a spool, she picked it up without a word. The crowd was small but engaged, neighbors, students, a few curious shoppers. and one stranger, a man in a denim jacket, standing at the edge of the group, hands in his pockets. He didn't speak, didn't draw attention. But when Henry glanced up, their eyes met. Keanu nodded once. Henry nodded back. And that was enough. As the workshop ended, the boy from earlier ran up to Henry, holding a small, unevenly stitched blue scarf. "Think she'll like it?" Henry ruffled his hair. "She'll love it." The boy beamed. Tyler stepped over, handing Henry a coffee. "You're good at this." Henry chuckled. "Takes one to know one." They laughed, the sound carrying through the store. And outside, the man in the denim jacket was gone. But the boutique wasn't. It stood brighter now, not because of the lights, but because of the people inside. And somewhere in a quiet corner of the world, Keanu sat with another coffee, another moment, another story he'd never tell. Because that's how it worked. You don't change the world by shouting. You change it by showing up and letting others do the same. Endero the end. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, tell us. Backhand index point right, have you ever been changed by someone who didn't raise their voice, but changed everything? Backhand index pointing right, what would you have done in Jonah's shoes? Drop your answer in the comments. And remember, quiet kindness isn't weakness. It's leadership in its purest form.